What happens when 5 U.S. Marines, armed with modern weapons, are thrown into the 13th century to face Genghis Khan's army? They expected a mission in the Pacific, not a war on horseback. This is the story of thunder, steel, and destiny, when modern warfare met ancient history. Welcome to Battle Paradox. The wind howled across the endless Mongolian steppe, carrying the echoes of hoofbeat and war drums. It was the 13th century, and the world trembled before the name Genghis Khan. His empire was vast, stretching from China to Europe, and his warriors were masters of ancient war strategies, archery, and military discipline unlike anything seen in history. They were the most powerful army in ancient military history, a force that conquered nations and reshaped the world history timeline. But fate, or perhaps imagination, had other plans. In a sudden flash of light that split the dawn, 5 men appeared out of thin air, confused, dusty, and armed to the teeth. They looked wildly out of place among the rolling plains and galloping horsemen. They wore modern camouflage and body armor, carrying M16 rifles, grenades, and one heavy M240 machine gun. They were not knights nor mercenaries. They were U.S. Marines, soldiers of the United States, trained in modern warfare, forged by centuries of tactics refined from World War II to the present day. The Marines quickly realized something was terribly wrong. This wasn't a drill or a training operation gone wrong. Around them stretched an empire, banners snapping in the wind, thousands of horsemen forming ranks beneath the eternal sky. The Marines exchanged uneasy glances. "This isn't Afghanistan, is it?" one muttered. They had enough ammo to hold their own for a while, but against an army of tens of thousands, it was madness. Far across the plains, Genghis Khan's scouts spotted the strange figures. Within hours, word spread to the Khan himself. Foreigners had appeared, armed with unknown weapons. Intrigued, not afraid, Genghis ordered his generals to engage. Soon, the ground began to tremble. The Mongol army advanced, a living tide of horse archers, their ancient weapons and tactics perfected through years of relentless conquest. The Marines braced themselves. As the Mongol riders approached, they opened fire. The sound of gunfire tore through the silence, sharp, thunderous, and alien. Horses screamed, warriors fell, and the steppe filled with smoke and chaos. The ancient army reeled in confusion, struck down by invisible force. The Marines, using their modern weapons and tactics, cut through the first wave with precision. For the first few minutes, it wasn't even a contest. To the Mongols, these men were like gods of thunder. But even divine firepower has limits. Ammunition dwindled, and soon the rifles began to click empty. The Mongols, quick to adapt, shifted strategy. They circled from afar, using ancient war strategies. Hit-and-run attacks, ambushes, and flanking maneuvers perfected over centuries. Genghis Khan observed from a distant hill, studying these mysterious warriors with fascination. He ordered his archers to stay at range, to wear down the enemy slowly. The sky darkened with arrows, thousands of them. The Marines took cover behind rocks, returning fire in short, controlled bursts. But exhaustion set in. Their bullets grew fewer. The Mongols closed in. The clash of eras was about to become intimate. Night fell, and the battlefield burned. When the last round was spent, the Marines drew their knives. They fought fiercely, trained, fearless, and relentless. They moved with precision, their bodies conditioned by modern combat drills, their instincts honed by centuries of inherited military knowledge from the U.S. Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps history. Yet, against overwhelming numbers, even their discipline could only carry them so far. When dawn rose, the steppe was quiet again. The Mongols stood victorious, but not unscarred. Hundreds of their finest lay dead, and whispers of the Thunder Soldiers spread through the ranks. Genghis Khan rode to the battlefield, his gaze lingering on the strange weapons left behind. He ordered them collected and studied. "These men fought like lightning," he said. "They remind us that war never ends, it only evolves." In this alternate history, the legend of the Sky Warriors was born. 5 men from another world who appeared out of nowhere and changed everything. For centuries afterward, stories of these thunderous warriors would echo across Asia, buried in the forgotten civilizations and untold history of the ancient world. Some would say they were spirits, others, visitors from the heavens. Could 5 Marines truly defeat Genghis Khan's army? Probably not. But their sudden appearance would alter the very course of history. Their technology, their courage, and their mystery would ignite questions that would echo for generations. Perhaps the Mongols, inspired by what they saw, would innovate faster, forging a new path in the rise and fall of civilizations. In the grand story of ancient military history, this was not just a battle, it was a paradox. A meeting of 2 worlds, one ancient, one modern, one built on horses and arrows, the other on bullets and strategy. It's a reminder that history isn't only about who wins, but about who changes the game. And somewhere in the winds that still sweep across the Mongolian plains, one might imagine the faint echo of gunfire, mixing with the sound of hooves, a whisper of that impossible day when modern warfare met ancient history. If you enjoyed this wild dive into ancient military history, forgotten civilizations, and alternate war stories, smash that like button, subscribe to Battle Paradox, and join us next time for another impossible question in history, like how ancient empires shaped the modern world.